for now. Good morning, everyone. Tulani, kindly give me an indication if we can start. Is everybody who's supposed to be here?
Jenny? Jenny? Hello? Yeah. Okay. All right. Colleagues, I think we're ready now. I don't know, Fezile, can you just quickly do the roll call and check if people are ready, and then so that we start. Time is not on our side. Hello, colleagues. Yes. I was saying time is not on our side, and we really need to start. Let's rather do a quick roll call just to check if the chair is ready. Deputy is around. MEC, I'm told she's logged on. If the first two agenda items are covered, then we can start.
All right.
That's my suggestion. And then maybe if we must also check if other participants, honorable members of the sector parliament are ready, the chairpersons and all, all those, so that we really start.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I think what I'm going to do, first and foremost, let me take this opportunity to greet everyone who's connected. I see that we have 49 people as part of this meeting. What I'm going to suggest that we do, Lindy will have to first run with according to the commissions. Just check if all the commissions are represented and then confirm the presiding officers. Can I check if all the presiding officers are here from the Women's Sector Parliament? The speaker, you can just indicate by saying yes. Hello? Lindy? Yes.
Yeah, let me call them by name one by one as per speaking list and see if they'll respond.
All right.
Okay. Thanks. All right. Commission 1, the chairperson, Nomfundo Ngwabe, is she in the meeting?
I'm here, Chair.
You're here, okay. And then Honorable Lerato Morobe Priscilla, is she here?
I'm here, Chair.
Okay. Honorable Tato Motaung.
I'm here.
Okay. Honorable Nozi Pongwenya. Honorable Nozi Pongwenya. Okay. Honorable Nozi Pongwenya. Okay. May I Hoshia, please mute. Okay. Honorable Banyana Kudamo.
I'm here, Chair.
Okay. Honorable Jimmy Mulukubate.
It's Jimmy Mokolobate. I'm here, Chair.
Okay, my apologies, Honorable. Honorable Mondi Mabuza.
I'm present, Honorable Chairperson.
Okay. Honorable Mandla Piete. Honorable Mandla.
Honorable Chair, Mandla is still trying to connect, but he will be here.
Okay, no, thank you. Okay. Honorable Nozipongwenya could not respond earlier. Is she in?
Chair, Honorable Nozipo will be replaced by Ubeti Musiwa if she can't connect.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Chair. Okay. Commission 2, Honorable Dino.
Lindy, let's not go to Commission 2 now. Okay. At least we know that Commission 1 is ready. Let's rather give it over to the chair and then we start.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Nandonga, back to you.
Thank you very much, Lindy. I think I agree with Mr. Malati. We can just proceed with the meeting. Mr. Malati?
right. Chair, the meeting is yours, Chair. We were just checking that little bit of checking, but sorry about that. Over to you, Chair Refilwe.
Thank you very much, Tulani, and good morning to everyone. Before we start, I would request that we all switch off our mics and cameras. You'll only be requested to switch on your camera and your mic when you are on the podium. Let's all switch off our mics and cameras just so that we ensure that our meeting runs smoothly without any interruptions. Thank you very much. My name is Refilwe Kakana. I'm the member of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature and a chairperson for a portfolio committee on social development. And I have been tasked with the responsibility to chair the session this morning. And before we start with our program, I would like us to all observe a moment of silent prayer or meditation for just 1 minute. You can all close your eyes and observe a moment of silent prayer and or meditation. Thank you very much, honorable members. And let me take this opportunity to greet and welcome all of you. The Speaker of the Provincial Legislature, Honorable Ntombi Mekwe in absentia, the Deputy Speaker Vuyo Mahlakasa Manamela, the Honorable MEC Faith Mazibuko, the Honorable Premier in absentia, Honorable MEC for Social Development, if she is here, Member Nomathemba Mokgethi, the Chair of Committees, Honorable Sizakele Nkosi Malobane, a Deputy Chair of Committees, Honorable Mpapa Kanyani, Honorable Members of the Portfolio Committee for Social Development, Honorable Members of the Gauteng Legislature and other legislatures present here today, as well as members from various municipalities, councillors, and officials in the Gauteng Provincial Legislature. All guests, our hosts, which is you members of this sector parliament, all members of the public joining us on this platform, and all the beautiful men and women here today. You are all welcome, and I greet you all. And just to say that we are meeting here today on this virtual platform during this Women's Month of August, in the midst of challenges which confront all of us due to a pandemic which is ravaging the country and the world at large, bringing about instability in the economic system. And not only that, but it also undermines and amplifies the already existing challenges facing women in this country. It lays bare the historic challenges of gender inequality, gender-based violence, poverty, hunger, spatial and economic inequalities experienced by women, not only in our country, but in most underdeveloped countries. It has now become an extra burden for women organizations and a few men organizations in our country to address the already existing concerns. And we dare not tire in our efforts to make a difference where we can. And we must appreciate this platform afforded to us today to do just that. And I hope that the basis of the topics for discussion today, which includes the gender-based violence, the mechanisms put in place in cushioning the struggles faced by women, and associated poverty alleviation interventions, amongst others, will help the Gauteng provincial government through this legislature to adequately respond to these challenges. And I also hope that the legislature, through its committees, will bring the women of our province closer to government services, which you so much deserve and need in helping building sustainable families, communities, and a nation. Like the saying that says, you empower a woman, you empower a nation. Let us all endeavor to empower our nation. And let us continue to empower one another as women, share our experiences, ideas, and most importantly, take action and learn from our experiences. I wish all of you participants very fruitful deliberations during the session, and you are welcome to express your views freely in line with the powers and privileges granted to you as honorable members, as we will be addressing you today. And with those few words, I would like to welcome all of you and thank you for being part of this historic meeting. Without any waste of time, I see we are a bit behind time, but we will try to make up for the lost time. And I will briefly like to explain the chairpersons, the commission, on how the chairpersons are going to report in these commissions. And I believe that during the discussions of your commissions in the workshops, chairpersons, and the preparatory sessions that you underwent, each commission agreed on resolutions that will be presented and tabled in this house today. I will therefore request the person designated to present the resolutions of the commission to forward the resolutions to the colleagues of the public participation unit. And then at the end of all the debates, they will hand over all the commission's resolutions to the deputy chairperson of committees so that they can be tabled at their meeting and forwarded to the executive for action. So according to our program, we do have the deputy chair of committees who will address us. And I would like to call upon the Honorable Deputy Chair of Committees, Honorable Mpapa Kanyane, to make his presentation. Honorable Kanyane.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair of Social Development, that is Portfolio Committee.
I seem to have lost you there, Honorable Mpapa Kanyane. Mpapa Kanyane, Honorable Mpapa Kanyane is going to give us the, the objectives and outline the purpose of this meeting. So I seem to have lost him there. I hope that he will be able to reconnect so that he can give us the purpose and the objectives of this meeting. Honorable Kanyane. Tulani, are we getting hold of Honorable Kanyane? Can you assist, please, so that we can get the. Okay, go ahead, Honorable.
Yeah, to say I'm outlining the main purpose of the event. I know I've got some challenges in terms of electricity, but now the issue here is we're here to encourage our senior citizens, the women's sector, and everybody who are really taking decision in the legislature processes and then everywhere to make sure that we observe this month, that the month as a women's month, it needs really to be observed with care and then also with understanding. So the main purpose is to make sure that all of us as the citizen, we are in par and we are au fait with women issues. engage with that understanding that all of us, we live together, all of us, we respect each other, all of us, we work together. That is why we are here. And now in your engagement, let's make sure that whatever we do is not just an we understand. Am I audible?
You are now audible. We lost you for a while there. Maybe if you can just go a little bit back, you know. Okay, come in.
Am I still audible?
Continue.
Yeah, no, but I think in a nutshell, because I've got this connectivity problem, is just we're in this platform to make sure that all of us, we understand the women issues, and then we understand the gender issues, and then we respect each other under the pretext and the understanding.
Honorable Mpapa, are you done?
Yeah, I'm done and say continue with the program. I'm done, and I think they've heard whatever I've said on the purpose of this proceedings.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Mpapa. And maybe because most of the people might have missed what you have said, because you kept on cutting off, I will just quickly read or re-emphasize what you have just said, just for the benefit of all the members that did not hear. And just to say that the purpose of this event is to give us women. Can you please mute your mics, please? Like I said, just for the purpose of those that could not hear, because we kept on losing Honorable Mpapa, the purpose of this event is, like he said, to give women a platform to raise their concerns and to fully understand that they are the masters of their own destiny. For them to attain this, they need proper support from government, which goes with understanding what their rights are. It also gives the women a chance to network and learn from one another and work tirelessly with our communities. And the objectives quickly is to provide a vehicle for women's voices to be heard on issues affecting them, and to help the participants in terms of fully understanding the role of the legislature, as well as assist the legislature to be effective and responsive to the needs of the people while realizing a better quality of life for all under the current situation. The participants will be participating in this legislature programs once they have realized what the institution can do for them. And that will be much appreciation in the effort of promoting public participation. I thank you. And we will then continue with our program. And on this note, I will call upon a member of the Executive Council, our Honorable Member, MEC for Community Safety, Honorable Faith Mazibuko, to deliver her keynote address. Honorable Mazibuko, the floor is yours. Thank you very much, MEC.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable House Chair. Let me acknowledge and welcome and appreciate all the women today who are honorable members. Today, now they get to be called honorable. And we usually say, Malibongi Kamalama Kosgazi. This is a great step, and we appreciate what the legislature has actually done in trying to convene all women of Gauteng. Upfront, Madam Chair, let me apologize for not being dressed properly. As you know, I deal with compliance and law enforcement. And when I received the invitation, Chair, I had already commitments in Ratanda. I'm in Ratanda today. You will recall that some of the work that I have to do is to make sure that our people don't eat rotten food. And I must say, Chair, it is a big challenge what I pick up in many of our areas, Chair, because majority of the spaza shops that are owned by foreign nationals are not being xenophobic, but there's non-compliance, no proper documents, the food that we find is expired, and even the vegetables, even the name, it says a general dealer, but you find they also sell methylated spirit and also oily mod. So these are all the things that we find in these spaza shops. So Maya Angelou, Chair, I wish to quote in one of her inputs. She says, each time a woman stands up for herself, she stands up for all women. As I indicated, it is a quotation from Maya Angelou, Chair. And I do believe that if we all stand up as women and be united, and stop calling these people about my friend, and because asna mali sokweletisa lapo. And when you go kweletisa, you become nice and say my friend, my friend. But things look good expire really. But over
MEC, we lost you there. We seem to have lost the MEC. I hope that she will reconnect. It seems like there's a bit of a challenge with the connectivity in the area where she is, but hopefully she will reconnect as soon as possible. I just want to check here.
Yeah, Chair, I've just admitted her, she's back.
yes, as I was indicating, Madam Chair.
Yeah, I think the problem is repeating itself. I saw her leaving then it means the system kicked her out. Hopefully she will reconnect and we can conclude on her speech so that we can start with our earnest debates. But if she cannot reconnect, I am going to, with your permission, Deputy Chair of Chairs, I am going to then proceed with the agenda so that we give honorable members ample opportunity to ventilate their issues. And if the MEC reconnects, we will be able to then pause and take her address, if it's allowed. Can you just give me an indication? Member Kanyane? Okay, no.
Madam Chair. Yes,
Welcome back. Yeah, we lost you. Okay.
Yes, it just kicks me out, Chair. I suspect it's the volume of the number of people. Chair, on the topics that are being discussed today that we received from the legislature, I'll go straight to them. On what the Gauteng government plans to do on GPV and the plans. Chair, as I've indicated, as the Gauteng provincial government, we have adopted a 5-pillar approach set out in the National Emergency Plan, namely prevention of gender-based violence, strengthening the criminal justice system, enhancing the legal and policy, provide
perpetrator. The male person is the driver and the instigator of GBV, yet most programs are focused on helping women deal with GBV. It would be progressive that some of the money that is spent on women is also spent on socializing young men. In my language, Setswana, rere, lore lojwa le salimedi. A branch is bent while it's still wet, focusing the attention on etching young men to respect their female counterparts. It's achievable if it's done early in their lives. As a result, in a myriad of socio-economic challenges, which I believe is compound to women and child abuse, the male person has become a problem in our society. And this, in the words of James Baldwin, the most dangerous man in society is a man who has nothing to lose. And with all that said, I thank you, Chair, and I submit.
Thank you very much, Honorable Lerato, for your inputs. And I will now call upon Honorable Anna Kaba, also for 3 minutes. Honorable Anna, if you are present in the House, the floor is yours. Switch on your mic and camera and address the House. Thank you so much.
Chair, just a quick correction. Mama Anna is not available at the moment. However, Honorable Tato will be taking place.
Okay, thank you very much. Over to you, Honorable Tato. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, honorable members. Programs available. Victim empowerment programs are managed by the Department of Health, Community Safety, and the South African Police Services. Trauma centers are attached to the police stations and are managed by volunteer victim supporters. Victim supporters work alongside SAPS coordinators. Most programs are run by NGOs such as Lifeline. Currently, the victim is removed to the place of safety, leaving her children behind. Where is she, or where she is concerned about her children? There are not enough shelters that can accommodate women with their children. Why destabilize the whole family on account the perpetrator? The Tulasana promote mothers' engagement in sensitive, responsive interaction with their infants. The Zinovio Caring Families program improve the parent-child relationship. Somebody, the mic is on. It's disturbing. The Zinovio Caring Family program improve the parent-child relationship, emotional regulation, and position behavior management approaches. Prepare, reduce risk behavior and intimate partner violence, which contribute to the spread of STIs. COCO supports success, prevent IPV among young teenagers. Stepping stone. Promote sexual health, improve psychological well-being, and prevent HIV. Creating futures to reduce HIV risk, behavior, and victimization, and perpetration of different forms of IPV, and strengthen livelihoods. Image, intervention with microfinance for AIDS and gender equity, improve household economy well-being, social capital and empowerment, and thus reduce vulnerability and IPV and HIV infection. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Tato. The next speaker on the list is Honorable Nozipho Ngwenya. Honorable Nozipho Ngwenya, the floor is yours for 3 minutes. Please address the House. Honorable Nozipho? Chair, Honorable Nomfundo, is Honorable Nozipo with us?
Chair, it looks like Honorable Nozipo just disconnected. Can I ask that Honorable Betty kindly take over, please?
Thank you so much. Honorable Betty, please step in. Thank you.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Betty Masima, and I'm representing Commission 1 on Gender-Based Violence. I'm going to speak about challenges associated with existing GBV programs. Research indicates that all the cases recorded per year, there is to a larger extent underreporting, and this is related to incidents where the perpetrator is known to the victim. In 2012 to 2013, out of 66,387 reported sexual offenses cases, only 4,669 perpetrators were convicted. This has been the trend over the years, and the citizens have lost faith in the justice system. Gender-based crimes reported are those that are of sexual and physical in nature, or even those that are threatening to human life. KPMG suggested that gender-based violence costs South Africa between 28.4 billion and 42.4 billion per year, or between 0.9% and 1.3% of GDP annually. From the challenges of existing GBV programs, it is rather fair to admit that there are some loopholes within the current programs that the government have put in place to make sure to curb issues around gender-based violence. The government is trying to raise awareness in different platforms that men can not only be seen as perpetrators, but also some kind of change agencies. If awareness is raised without including men, it is not helping. This is the lesson that we have been seeing in all the previous programs. But if we say now that we are actively involving men for them to come out and support this program, which is good, because they are coming out in the open to acknowledge that some of the drivers for gender-based violence are kind of embedded in cultural norms and values. The rights of the GBV victims versus those of the perpetrator as a structure of violence. The rights of the abuser supersede those of the victim. I will end here, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Betty. Thank you very much for your input. I will now call upon Honorable Banyana Kutamo to make her presentation for 3 minutes. Honorable Banyana, the floor is yours. Honorable Betty, you can switch off your camera now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My name is Banyana Kutamo from Ekurhuleni. I'll be doing concrete solutions to the problems. Exploring solutions that are specific to South African challenges. Individual focus and also relationship focus. Individual focus, incorporate the GBV into the curriculum from grade R for children to learn to speak out from an early age. Teach grade R learners to understand their body and create awareness on what it means by being touched inappropriately. For example, using dolls. Break the girl-boy divide by ensuring that all children understand they have an equal responsibility in doing the house chores. Introducing dolls as part of the formal teaching and learning would also give both girls and boys a chance to mimic roles that are often associated with girls. Invest on programs that will focus on behavior modification for girls and boys to help them deal with social media pressures. Where possible, reintroduce the Girls and Boy Scouts in primary schools. Life orientation curriculum should empower both girls and boys with programs that will teach them to coexist, and gender-based violence should be part of the 12-year curriculum. Matriculants should be prepared for social ills experienced mostly by girls at tertiary institutions of learning. A 4-week life orientation program in January for all first-year students accepted to study in tertiary institutions of learning should be introduced to create awareness to first-year learners on dangers associated with gender-based violence and trend of men who prey on the first-year students, especially those coming from rural communities. Alternative places to access post-exposure prophylaxis for women who are not comfortable to go to police stations should be established, or investing in teams that will be doing home visits to conduct investigation as a familiar environment where possible, the victim's place and residence. On relationship focus, when women are taken into the places of safety, they should be equipped with a skill to help them become self-sufficient. The skills embedded must be practical to current economic climate to ensure that women find their way back to the hands of the perpetrators. Parents and family-based programs are necessary to provide a holistic, therapeutically environment that will heal with the family as a unit or provide support should that family have to disintegrate. The government must invest in the social wellness of the country by employing adequate social workers for community members to access relationship counseling, and need to stimulate a discussion to determine the extent to which the marriage contracts are a contributing factor for women to hold on to their abusive relationships. Explore relevant South African justice system into addressing matters of gender-based violence. Revise the benefits awarded to the victim to match those enjoyed by perpetrators. Establishing centers for perpetrators where they will be subjected to undergo behavioral modification programs. I thank you, Honorable Chair. I submit.
Thank you very much, Honorable Banyana. I now call upon Honorable Jimmy. Honorable Jimmy Mokolobate, the podium is yours.
Thank you, Chair of the session. Mine will be based on, can you hear me, Chair? Hello? It's Jimmy from Mohlakeng in the West Rand. The solutions. As men, we also need to be involved, as this also affects all men in all directions, and get necessary training on how to deal with those of victims and perpetrators. My neighbor's child is my child. Protections come from within. Community-based programs in terms of those who are abused and skills development must be dealt with in all stakeholders, because of there are not enough resources in the locations, whereby most of the NPOs and NGOs don't get enough training for such issues. More budget to social wellness will award space for buildings of old age homes to put to an end the abuse subjected to the elderly. And in fact, institutions such as churches must also work in line with social workers and also get skills and knowledge on how to deal with gender-based violence. More community outreach programs are needed, and roadshows to teach the importance of how GBV affects not only the victims, but the entire immediate families. I submit.
Thank you, Honorable Member Jimmy. Thank you for your speech. And the next item, the next speaker is Honorable Mondli Mabuza. Honorable Mondli Mabuza, the platform is yours. Over to you. Chairperson, can we get an indication of the presence of Honorable Mondli Mabuza? If he's not there, please let's get the replacement.
Chair, Honorable Mondli Mabuza is online. If you can just kindly unmute himself.
Oh, okay. Am I audible, Honorable Chair?
Yes, you are audible and you are visible. Thank you very much. You can continue.
Okay, thanks, Honorable Chair. I'm going to come with some concrete solutions presented with the challenges that we are having in the government, with the initiatives that are put in place. Starting with about the collaboration with the communities, with the government. The government should also let the communities lead the process, as it is evident that middle class and working class women are more active in supporting affected victims from the gender-based violence. So education channels should be facilitated by these women from these disadvantaged communities. Fun and educational materials such as drama, music, and poetry should be implemented relative to the gender-based violence around that context. It serves as an invisible psychologist in the communities. If subliminal advertising is allowed in our television channels, why not an educational thing, an educational subliminal message be delivered across these channels of entertainment? Also, just to build a more positive understanding about the gender-based violence. Around the religious side, the government should implement a permanent ban on ancient religious beliefs to curb the gender-based violence in the religious space, provide educational material and also people to support this after banning it, to show that it's not only a hate or discriminating or disobeying the word of God, only to say the word of God is correctly says. Even in the Bible, it states that the people should respect their governments. Their governments overlook the problems of the people, and then they have to listen and also act from the grievances of the people. Okay, comes to also to implement, the government should also implement victim safety facilities or housing, and should also be available and booked at the police station or the social workers' offices, because we find that the victim is the one that gets less hospitality or assistance, while the perpetrator gets much more support and also gets food and shelter at the end of the day using the state resources, while the victim stands out in the cold, also having to go back home and face the similar circumstances that they faced before. And also support and grow collaboration using the existing structures in the communities, such as the leadership structures, and also the youth clubs and the NGOs that are already working in the communities. They can identify the active structures in the communities. So that's as far as I can go. And also to address on the sanitation side, there's something that we are not aware of. There's some violence that is also triggered by the sanitation service deliveries. Like you can see in informal settlements, women are mostly affected, having to access the toilet of the chemical toilet, be it a pit latrine, from a distance, and they have to relieve themselves at night, and nature calls at any time. They end up finding themselves being raped while trying to relieve themselves, going to the toilet. So sanitation service delivery is dead, because you find that 5 households are sharing a single toilet structure. So if the solution could be each and every household inside the yard or nearby, they have their own structure. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. You can mute your mic now. The next speaker, the last speaker on this debate is Honorable Mandla Piete. Honorable Mandla.
Chair, can we kindly replace Honorable Mandla? He's having issues with connectivity, with Honorable Puleng.
Thank you so much, Honorable Puleng. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Good morning, Honorable. My name is Ilengi Nyanyi. I'm from Ekurhuleni. I would like to continue with the concrete solution. Solution on cultural. Community-based programs that use participatory methods to change gender norms, participatory trainings on HIV risk and prevention, self-reliance skills, rape prevention programs for women, e.g. self-protection skills, targeting of boys and men as vulnerable groups, and utilizing men to facilitate change in the community. Public awareness campaign must be driven by the community and not imposed on them to dispel myths about intimate partner violence, influence public opinion, and encouraging public participation. Human rights advocacy to foster gender equality and empowerment of women, promote legal reform, strengthen criminal justice responses, and improve safety of physical environment. And then for community focus, revisit the initial plan of establishing victim empowerment centers, clarify the role of all departments involved in the matters of gender-based violence, currently coordinate in through the Department of Social Development, Department of Health, Justice, Department of Education, South African Police, and the Department of Correctional Services. And it does not make economic sense. All the budgets allocated to these different institutions can be consolidated and put into one department, taking the Victim Empowerment Center, coordinating to the Women and Children Ministry. Increase on budget for GBV, being offender registry to the public knowledge. Introduce leader counseling programs facilitated by peer leaders and peer educators in schools to encourage learners to report acts of abuse and threatening situations that may lead to any form of violence. And I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Puleng. Thank you so much. I now call for open time, and I will allow only 4 participants to speak to the debate in terms of Rule 77, subsection 7. And also note that the participants who are on the speaking list will not be allowed to speak during this open time. And as you rise to speak, don't forget to mention your name and the rule under which you rise to speak on, which is Rule 77, subsection 7. I thank you. Can I just get an indication? I think on your panel there, you do have an icon for raising your hand. If you want to be part of the debate, you want to speak, please raise your hand and I will recognize you. And if you do not have the icon to raise your hand, you can just unmute your mic, say your name, and continue to speak. I thank you. Can I get an indication of who wants to participate in the debate? In the absence of any hands, because I have not seen anyone raise their hands here, we will then continue. And
there's hands, Chair. There's 3 hands.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Honorable Zashe, you can speak.
Good morning, honorable members. I just want to make 3 additions to the recommendations. Government must lobby the active participation and support of traditional leaders and churches to overcome the pandemic of gender-based violence. Also, to amplify the impact of the existing 365 days National Action Plan, political will is very crucial. Lastly, the profession of frontline workers on gender-based violence, namely the nurses, social workers, psychologists, educators, and police force, must be elevated as the critical skills in addressing social ills of the country. Therefore, even their salary scales must be reviewed to be in line with their contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable member. Any other one? No other hand. Okay.
Honorable member,
Okay, Katlego Mavuso, you can speak.
Good morning, Chair and the House. I would also like to add some few things that have been raised and some concerns that are also taking place. It is true that the citizens of South Africa have lost hope in the government, moreover in the police department. But also, it's wrong that people lose hope, and they are also the part of the people who are contributing to the police to drag their feet when cases are reported. It's a known factor that 1 out of 15 cases are reported in the GBV, and 2 out of 50 cases or convicted have been made. Yes, it's true, but also how many cases are being dropped by the same people who are being violated or abused? It's also a concern that we also need to look at. People, they go to the police station, open cases, and the police, they advise them to go to the victim empowerment support. After a few days, or when people are supposed to come into court, people come and then they change their mind to drop the cases. It's also a challenging factor to the police, to the state, to the government to make necessary steps when people are using their right to close down cases. But also, again, those cases, it's been a number added to the states that cases are being reported, but they are not convicted. So we also need a bill to say if somebody opens a case on GBV, that person will not have a right to close the case until investigations and a proper judgment is being made. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Katlego. Can I get an indication of anyone else who wants to make an input to the debate? Okay, over to you. You can start. Just unmute your mic, Honorable Member.
Oh my, regarding to the challenge that we normally face. I know on the province or on the place where I am right now, I'm still new, and I just feel that they are also. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Continue.
Okay, yes. So I strongly believe, and with the background or personal experience, which I've been running some of the program that we are doing, I still strongly believe that somehow the government in terms of are supplying those things. So my main concern was, in order for us, or in order for the communities of women to stand up and to know what to do in terms of fighting the gender-based violence. I just proposed 4 points here in terms of the awareness. My concern was most of the awareness that they normally do, they are not closer to the people where they can be able to access the information and to get there in terms of, having those awareness so that they can be trained and so that they can be engaged in terms of being taught of how are the gender-based violence. Because remember, the awareness, it should only be on a physical, psychological, mental, and also physical abuse, because some of other women, they've got a lot of abuse that is happening to them, but for the fact that they don't have any clue, it makes them difficult for them to come forward or to report those kind of things. And 2, I'm also having a concern with the trauma center that they are also running within the police station. My concern is that sometimes it will be much more wiser for the government to monitor those trauma centers so that they can check in terms of those people, are they knowledgeable enough? Are they well trained for them to give those train or those psychological counseling to those people? Because it only takes someone who's very, very trained and well knowledgeable to come to deal with someone who has been abused. So I strongly believe that due to the police, they are still not playing their role, and I feel that the government is not monitoring or inspecting in terms of seeing and checking how is it how are these trauma centers are running. I'm not blaming, I'm not criticizing all other regions. Some of them probably you might find that they are doing very good, but some of them they are not. I'll also talk about the programs. We need to put the programs, the government need to also monitor the programs that they are giving to their organization, whether being the NGOs, but I strongly believe that they should also consider the local organization, whether being new but being mentored by the well-known one, because you find that some of the cases when they had to happen, those people that they are running those cases, those programs, they are far from them, and we still have a challenge where other locations they don't have any mobile clinic, where they don't even have any mobile police station where they need to go and report. They need to take taxis before they go to those places. So it is a challenge on its own. I'm talking on behalf of Sidibeng, where I'm a resident of a K-Dale, but due to a K-Dale and a Jameson, I know we only have the police station that you need to go to Nigel or Heidelberg to go and, for you to go to the to report anything, or in a police, or if you want to go to the police station. So if those things can be brought forward, it will make life easier for the woman, so that it will be easier for them to come and report only a personal or any abusive issues that may arise. And with also another proposal that I'm also thinking is, should the government also looking at their plan, let them also try and empower those organizations that are within the community, so that they can develop some skills for all the women that they are being harassed or that they are abused within the location, so that let them have some other activities that they will do in order for them to shift their mindset, and for them to come across or have those, workshop where they will gather with other women, teach them, and make sure that they learn more out of it. Because yes, we are saying we are still privileged and fortunate that all these topics and discussion that we are doing, but somewhere, somehow, we still fail, because we still have semi-rural places where these people, they can't access any information. Let there be libraries, and then also to look in terms of how best can we send the information to the people, and let it also be catered in their own language. And the last point is, let's not forget about the traditional leaders, that the role that they are playing within the community. Also mentioning the health practitioner, because we cannot run away again from those people, because those are the first people again where people, if they come across those problems, they run to those people. Are those people knowledgeable enough? Are they well trained for them, so that if that matter needs to be escalated, then it will be easier for them to go and engage with the people that they are, that they can be helped in terms of that. So I thank you for that for now, my honorable chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sibongile. I'm now left with one hand, but I see there's two more hands, and I would like to request that those that I'm not going to take, use the chat room. There's an icon there for chat. You can just make your inputs on the chat room. So I'm just going to take the last hand, which is Figile Bantinye. Yes, Figile, you can come in.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My name is Fikile Matsinye from Ekurhuleni. We would like to, good morning, members of the legislature. We would like to get intensification on the research into closed institutions that are protecting high-profile men who have been reported to be in violation of their partners, such as, but not limited to, the religious sector. The pastors' wives, oftentimes, they are forced to be submissive because they have to protect the congregation. That is an area that is not exposed, and women are silenced there to protect the position of their partners. members. We also request to strengthen and enforce legislation that protect women from myths and rigid traditional practices that promote biasness on gender stereotypes and tradition, issues of ukutwala, as it was mentioned earlier on. We request that the government invest in asset-based community development programs that will help community members identify their own assets in dealing with issues of gender violence. This means that empower communities to come up with programs they feel will make sense to them based on what resources the community has, other than imposing solutions on them. We also request the strengthening of national laws on immigration to be in favor of the citizens of the Republic of South Africa, introducing a legislation that will ensure that illegal immigrants are recorded and accounted for to combat the threats associated with human trafficking of women and young girls. I submit. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. And I would request that all of you can just lower your hands now. I now call upon the Chairperson, Honorable Nomfundo Ngwabe, to reply to the debate and move for the adoption of the committee's report. Honorable Member.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Going through the conclusion, South Africa is regarded by the United Nations as one of the countries with the best legislative framework on domestic violence. Ironically, it is still South Africa that is considered amongst the countries that have recorded the highest number of gender-based violence globally. The Domestic Violence Act 116 of 1998 seeks to provide the highest form of protection from domestic violence, but there are many women who are killed by their partners in South Africa whilst in possession of a protection order. South African women have lost faith in the justice system based on the brutality of the courts to the victims of gender-based violence. The human rights laws advocate for ex-offenders to be integrated in their societies, and victims are expected to coexist with their perpetrators in the same communities, whether they forgive them or not. NGOs have been concerned about the fact that the victim empowerment centers are not child-friendly. The South African justice system has been criticized for its failure to protect the victims of gender-based violence. Our honorable members, Zasha, Katlego, and Sbongile, together with Figile, have raised very important factors, such as the government lobbying active participation of traditional leaders, the profession of frontline workers to be elevated. We need to have awareness moved closer to the people. And this, we're talking about having community-based conversations regarding the GBV, because you may find out that most of the perpetrators actually live within the communities. We're also looking at trauma centers for the police station. And this takes us back to the point that was raised by MEC Faith Mazibuko earlier on, when she spoke about the 5-pillar approach by the Gauteng government, and looking at the objectives, being able to find right and true evidence, the response time, the education and training of law enforcers, and the capacitation of people to ensure that they unlearn the violence. This brings us back to all the recommendations that have been raised by my commission. A recommendation for future research would be to investigate whether all the resources provided for gender-based violence in South Africa, how much of those are actually benefiting the intended beneficiaries? How much of the South African laws were inherited from the historical pre-1994 and are not representative of the current South African content? What is the role played by the Department of Monitoring and Evaluation in the Office of the Presidency in ensuring that the departments can deliver gender-based violence programs as desired? I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Can you then move for the adoption of the committee's resolutions?
I then move to the adoption of the committee's resolution.
Thank you. I now call for a seconder. Any seconder? Just say your name and second, member.
Lerato Morobe, seconded.
Thank you very much. Okay, we already have a seconder in the. Okay, thank you. I now put. Okay, members, I did receive a seconder. I now put the question to all of you. All those in favor of these recommendations, please say yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And all those not in favor, please say no. Okay, the yes have it. The report is duly adopted. Thank you very much. And I would just request that the chairperson also forward the resolutions to the staff of the public participation unit. I now declare this debate closed, honorable members, and call on the secretary to read the second order. Secretary.
Thank you, Chair. The second order is debate on the impact of unethical conduct in the public service on women relying on government services. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I now call upon the chairperson of this order, Honorable Dineo Marema, to open the debate for us. You have 6 minutes in which to do that. Honorable Dineo, the podium is yours. Yeah, you are breaking, but we can hear you. You can continue.
Good morning, honorable members of the House.
We are struggling to hear you, Honorable Dineo. Just a few minutes. Can you maybe move around? We are struggling a bit to hear you.
Ethics. Our task was to look at the topics on relying on government services. Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you. Can you
hear me
start
now?
Yes, start from scratch.
Women relying on with specific focus on COVID-19 social welfare mechanisms in cushioning struggles of women faced by job losses. What is ethics? Loosely defined, it is the moral principles that govern a person's behavior or the conducting of an activity. The COVID-19 pandemic has exacerbated an already deep divide between male and female, whether be it in the workplace or in the business sector. It came and added an additional slap on our faces. The South African Constitution of 1996, being one of the most progressive in the world, includes social security as one of the socio-economic rights enshrined in the Bill of Rights. Section 27(1)(c) of the Constitution reads, everyone has the right to have access to social security, including if they are unable to support themselves and their dependents. Social grants are key to the survival, especially of women, and are considered to be a safety net in the event of an incapacity or inability to work. systems and maladministration and or poor administration across government departments have to provide these special relief options in the understanding of ethics and integrity. The in social, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. We had a challenge of hearing you properly there, but I guess that your submission is also in writing. We should be able to get hold of it. We know that it's a situation that is beyond your control. However, I will call the next person on the list, who is Honorable Danita Hingston, to make her submission. Honorable Danita Hingston, you've got 3 minutes. The podium is yours. Thank you so much.
Good morning. Good morning, honorable members of the legislature, and good morning to my honorable members of the other commission. Am I audible?
Loud and clear, you are audible. Thank you.
Okay, great. So I would like to speak on the need for ethical leadership in South Africa, which we desperately need. This country is praised for having a progressive constitution, and we also boast an upper middle income status when it comes to our economy. Yet most of our women's lives currently do not reflect this. In our constitution, there's a high standard of professional ethics that is enshrined, and it should be promoted and maintained. But what we are seeing currently in South Africa is a steady decline in the moral and ethical standards, as corruption is continuing to run rampant. And it tells bad on a government who has committed to restore a life of dignity for the millions of people who are still experiencing the legacy of apartheid, especially for women, in particularly Black women. And this pandemic has impacted us most profoundly. Women in Gauteng province have been hardest hit, considering the province is an economic hub. Now, during this lockdown period, 3 million jobs were lost, and of that 3 million, 2 million were women. And also other social issues. Many women remain frustrated with the poor quality of service delivery. And the sad part is that they have little power in influencing decision-making processes at local governments. Hence, a people-centered response to COVID-19 is not really taking place as we are seeing. Amidst this crisis as well, we are seeing the wealthy and elites finding more ways to enrich themselves as the country plunges deeper into an economic recession. And this is the time when we should be coming together and rallying to provide effective and meaningful solutions. In the media, we're seeing tender-related reports emerge of family members of politicians being awarded with tenders worth millions of rands, and it's the poor people who continue to suffer. Although this conduct may not be seen as criminal, but it's perpetuating the public's perception that the government is nurturing a culture of nepotism and favoritism, and it's undermining our confidence in the integrity of these institutions and public process. And to offer a couple of recommendations, I think it is vital for local government to remember that they have an important ethical dimension to their mandate, which entails educating and upholding the rights and responsibilities of citizens. As a commission, we have observed that many women still believe that democracy is only limited to voting, and they lack the knowledge of all the other civic entitlements that democracy entails. Women are citizens and they need to be engaged in civic responsibility. Like we are doing here today in the women's sector parliament. It is important for women's voices to be heard, and then also for them to vocalize issues that are affecting them and for them to influence decision making. We need to cultivate a caliber of people who are ethical and seek social justice in South Africa. And this often starts in the home. Many of us as young women, we learn the importance of ethics in the community, at home, and at school. And we pass on these values to the younger generation. Of course, modernization and urbanization influence what ethical values we uphold and pass down. But it is important for the children that we are bringing up to understand ethical values. And if they are taught to always consider the consequences of their decision, whether good or bad, and how this will affect the country, I do have hope that the future leaders of SA will be more committed to implement change. And when it comes to the awarding of tenders, we must allow ordinary members of the society, especially women in business, to be given a fair chance, in fact, and be prioritized for these opportunities, because many businesses have suffered during this COVID-19 crisis. So now is the time to have ethical leadership more than ever. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Danita. I now call upon the next speaker, Honorable Lerato Mampaki Baloyi, to make her submission for 3 minutes. Honorable Lerato Baloyi, the floor is yours. Chair Marema, can we get an indication if Honorable Lerato is here? If not, a replacement?
Yes, Chair, she is here, but I think it's connectivity. So can we move on and come back to her?
Okay, thank you so much. I now call upon Honorable Busi Kumalo. Honorable Busi Kumalo, the floor is yours. Thank you so much. Honorable Busi, yes. Honorable Busi, are you winning, Chair? We don't seem to have Honorable Busi on the platform. Can you give us guidance? Can we call the next speaker?
Yes, ma'am, for now.
Okay, I will then move on to Honorable Portia Nkomo. Honorable Portia.
Present Chair. Good morning. I'd like to greet all the honorable members in the House. My name is Portia Nkomo from Citybang region, South Africa, obviously, Vereniging. Today, I'd like us to discuss to what extent do pandemics impact women in Gauteng in lieu of COVID-19. In a country where women are primarily breadwinners and often sole providers for their families, according to the South African Nursing Council in 2016, roughly 90% of nurses are women, thus indicating the majority of healthcare workers being women, meaning particularly most are at risk of dying in the front line in lieu of COVID-19. In my region, I have become conscientized about the rate of death of healthcare workers and the reach of infection in the front lines when it comes to their families. I noticed in one of the clinics in my region, there was a lack of PPE only masks and gloves were provided for 5 months into this pandemic. Only after the media, which is considered the fourth estate and the fourth arm of government, broke the story on the PPE scandal, only then were those healthcare workers given some form of adequate PPE, which is still of a standard that can be improved upon. The fourth estate, in terms of ethical considerations, prevailed in the interest of the people. A clear example of the correlation between a moral decadency in leadership versus ethical considerations. As the moral triumphs and failures of leaders carry a greater weight and volume than those of non-leaders, because in leadership, morality is magnified. So, if leaders do not uphold the social contract between a country and its citizens, what will make citizens uphold ethics? Which leads to also the mere consideration that health workers were not awarded an annual increase, as some of the honorable members have mentioned the financial impact of the pandemic at the front line in consideration to health workers, as they are also the social shock absorbers at the front line of COVID-19, and also their children and members of their families being at home, meaning increased food needs and increases in food prices, and thus making members of their families also shock absorbers and susceptible to the risks that they endure at the front line, and also compromises the family income of those health workers and their ability to provide for their families. So my sentiments here are meant to express the gap between perception and reality, because I've seen a pattern in the media where only big hospitals and places are covered, but the smaller clinics in small town areas are not quite covered, and society is not really getting this of what's actually happening on the floor. And also, I want to illuminate this as one of the ways that women in particular are overlooked and excluded, taking into account resources available in context and stages of the pandemic at hand, and presenting the bare minimum conditions necessary for making social rights
We have just lost, oh, okay, she's back on. We lost you a bit there, member.
She is muted. Let her
member
unmute.
Portia, can you unmute your microphone, please?
Okay, I don't know at what point was I muted. Can you guys indicate where you lost me?
I'm not sure, but you can just go maybe a paragraph back.
Okay, let me go a paragraph back. As I've mentioned, I was speaking about health workers being at the front line, being social shock absorbers of the pandemic, being the mere fact that they are the main breadwinners to many households in South Africa, and an indication that most of South Africa's income in families is from the female counterpart. So it also not only affects them, but also the children and family members who rely on that income. And that it was only after the PPE scandal was exposed in the media that only PPE was provided in a particular clinic in my region in Sidibeng. So also, I'd like to appeal to legislature to improve, obviously, surveillance over what is happening on the ground, in terms of making sure that they get the bare minimum, which is adequate PPE and obviously monetary incentives, because food prices went up and obviously most people at home at the moment. And also just to express that this is a way that I wanted to illuminate some of the ways that women are being overlooked and excluded, particularly healthcare workers at the front line. And also the issue of PPE, the fact that obviously if you're at a front line as a healthcare worker and you're only wearing gloves and masks, there's no difference between a healthcare worker and an ordinary citizen. And obviously, we're trying to flatten the curve. And in order to flatten that curve, they have to be protected the most so that also their family members aren't susceptible to infections as well. Taking into account resources available, context and stages of the pandemic at hand, and presenting the bare minimum conditions necessary for making social rights a reality, guided by broadly applicable ethical principles by prioritizing the worst off and vulnerable members of society, which are women in particular. As Gauteng legislature has a special oversight obligation to women of this province, I personally would like to see the hand of legislature as the third arm of government ensure that those involved in the PPE scandal be brought into account and not merely be suspended or redeployed, as to restore moralities and ethics in the country, as well as the broken social contract between a government and its people, and also to reiterate on the sentiments of the honorable members on the fact that on ground level, most South Africans are losing faith in our leadership. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Portia, for your submission. I will now then go back to Honorable Lerato Baloyi, if she is back on. If she's not, Honorable Busi Khumalo, either of the two who is available. But I will start with Honorable Lerato Baloyi. Honorable Lerato, are you on?
Sorry, Chair, she's struggling to connect.
Okay, can we then get Honorable Busi? Is Honorable Busi ready? Chair?
I think she's also unable to connect. There seems to be quite a challenge in connecting in the meeting.
Okay. I will then, in terms of Rule 77, subsection 7, call other members or other organizations not listed under this debate to speak during this time. I will acknowledge 4 participants who wish to speak to the debate, and kindly introduce yourself and quote the rule, Rule 77, subsection 7, when you speak. Can I get an indication of people who want to speak? You can use the icon to raise your hand. I will recognize you. If you don't have the icon to raise your hand, okay, I see Mbuso. Mbuso has raised his hand. Let's see. And Dailale Khodi. Okay, let's start with Mbuso, and then Dailale Khodi will follow in that order. Thank you. You can just unmute your mic, Mbuso, and speak to the House and address the House. Honorable Mbuso, unmute and continue. Press the unmute button, Honorable. Okay, we will move on to the next speaker. You will come back to you as soon as you have sorted out your technical glitch. Let's move to Honorable Dailale Khodi. Honorable Dailale Khodi, your hand is up. Oh, Honorable Mbuso is back on. Okay, Honorable Dela, let's get Honorable Mbuso to start. You will follow.
Yes, certainly we are concerned with these GPV issues. My worry here is, Honorable, we don't have enough adequate resources to fight this gender-based violence. Foremost is lack of much police within our country to fight, to consume the volume of containing the GBV status, and secondly, lack of social workers. That's why we have much cases that unsolved cases, mainly within the police, within the social workers. They are so little to handle the matter on their matter. That's why now I see the government must intervene in this case, because if they can hire more social workers and more police and become more empowered in terms of dealing with this issue, I think we can go somewhere. I thank you for now.
Thank you, Honorable Mbuso. You can now mute your mic, and I will now take Honorable Dela Lehodi to make a submission. Honorable Lehodi.
Thank you, Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Honorable Mbuso, you can mute your camera as well.
Okay, let me do my camera. Okay, so good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dela Lehodi, Honorable Dela Lehodi. So firstly, in the Integrity Committee, we need to understand that integrity is the practice of being honest and showing interest and consistent and uncompromising adherence to strong and moral ethical principles. Now, why are these two important, integrity and ethics? The integrity is favorable and sensible for doing what is right when it comes to dealing with people. And we all know that women, in most instances, women are the only people who care mostly about the people in general. There are a number of studies that show that women are not equally represented in senior roles. Now, to what extent do these pandemics impact women in Gauteng? Women-headed homes make up 40% in South Africa as a whole. Gauteng as the highest number. These households are amongst the highest number of residents and low levels of income. Already women spend 8 times more on childcare than men. Now imagine being stuck at home with little, if no income at all, and all the children not going to school. The closing of schools as well will have an impact. These children depend on feeding schemes at schools, now have to go to sleep on empty stomach. Women end up borrowing money from loan sharks and banks just to make ends meet because they do not have any other source of income, because their social grants are not enough. Now, these are some of the programs that should be introduced to women at Gauteng. The government should make sure that they equip female role players and stakeholders and social sectors with knowledge. They need to train women to be job creators, not job seekers. They need to identify women in need, do support groups for women going through tough times during this pandemic. The government must also ensure that they support small businesses owned by women. The same opportunities women in private sector get will also be made available to those in public sector. Now, is there a need for legislation that governs integrity in Gauteng? Yes, there's a need for legislation that governs integrity for women in Gauteng. Women need to have their voices heard. They also need to form part of the drafting of the legislation. I mean, we all know that women are the carriers of the nation. Them having a voice will also enable them to have a system that will cater for everyone. I submit. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Member Lehodi. You can now mute your mic, and can I have an indication of who else wants to speak? I am left with 2 slots. Can I have an indication? Yeah, you can unmute and speak and introduce yourself. Thank you so much.
My name is Dolly.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
My name is Nonkululeko Madondo. Unfortunately, there's no hand button here, so that's why I just appeared on the screen. I'm from Sidibeng in Sebokeng at Golden Gardens, and I just have a couple of things that I'd also like to say. We as women are having a very big problem. The problem, most importantly, is in the private sector. The private sector does not recognize women like what we see from example, government entities. We are mistreated as women because there is no laws that restrict private entities in the way they treat women in their companies. For example, I've got an example. When I was working, I had to leave my job due to being frustrated in the workplace and being told that I cannot go to work in an area if I have children. So those are certain things that need to also be addressed, women in private sector, because in government sectors, yes, we are protected, but in private sector, we need some kind of laws that govern how women get to be treated, especially us women that have children and, for example, women that are not allowed to work from home, when we know very well that during this pandemic, there is the schools, most schools are closed and daycare centers are also closed. So children have nowhere to go, but at the same time, the mothers are forced to go to work in those conditions. So these are some of the stuff that also needs to be addressed. And I feel like there should be something that prioritizes women, especially with the grants, that there should be some sort of there needs to be a re-establishment of these laws and how they are prioritized, especially I'm just going to make an example of some women who, when they applied for support grants, they couldn't get it at this moment of the pandemic due to the fact that they were unemployed just before the pandemic started. So those are some of the examples where us as women are struggling. For example, you have children, you cannot take care of them right now because before the pandemic you were unemployed, but when you tried to apply, you were told that there's laws that are governing that you have to have at least worked for, you've had an income in the past 6 months, so you are not eligible for the grants that are already in place. And the next thing that I also wanted to address is the fact that there is employment that was made by the government during this pandemic where they said we should apply for jobs, and these jobs where we're going to sanitize in schools, we did get responses and messages that we should await for training sessions that will be done for us. But till today, there is no training sessions that were done, and people have been working in the schools. So to some point, we need some accountability of what has happened to those jobs. Why were they not given to us? And as women, we are really struggling. So those are the few things that I just wanted to address. And I feel like we need some sort of solution because like Ms. Posha Nkomo addressed, that we are losing faith in our systems, not because things are not done for us by the government. The head of the pyramid wants it to be delivered. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. I now want to take the last hand on the open floor session. Can I get an indication of who wants to make an input?
Can I speak?
Sorry, who's speaking? There's
My
no
name
hand
is
here.
Dolly. I don't have a hand thingy.
Okay, Dolly, it's fine. You can just introduce yourself and continue to speak. You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay. My name is Dolly. I'm from Pretoria, Soshanguve. So what I want to speak about is the treatment. Let me start with the SASSA thing for the grants of the children. I honestly think that they should change the attitude or the treatment somehow, the way they treat people. Like most of the people who benefit from that are women. But now there are men who are raising kids on their own, but it's very, very difficult for them to go and get a grant because they will be having some, there will be, if I am a woman and I go and apply for a grant, they won't be having a lot of questions. But for a man, like, I think they make it difficult for them to do so. And the issue of gender-based violence, I think the government can implement some sort of empowerment for men too, because now I see that men feel challenged or overpowered by women, and then now they how can I put it? Like the women who are independent in their homes, now they struggle to get that sort of submission to their men. So now most of the houses that have like domestic violences, you find that the man is forcing, he wants respect by force, or he wants submission by force. And it affects mostly the children, because the children are the ones who are now being disturbed. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Continue, ma'am.
Oh, okay. So as I was saying, I think having some sort of empowerment for men, and having for women who are abused at home or the victims of gender-based violence, they should at least have some temporary home for them and the kids. Since it's not easy to get the perpetrator arrested. Even if they are arrested, they don't stay long. He still comes back in the same house with the same victim, staying with the same kids, and it's traumatic for the kids. So I think if the government should get a temporary accommodation for the victim and the kids. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dolly. And I will just request that those that I couldn't accept, use the facility, the chat room. You can just make your submissions in the chat room. You can just type them in there. I now call on Honorable Marema, the chairperson of the session of the commission, to reply to the debate and move for adoption of the commission's report. Honorable Marema, please reply to the debate and move for the adoption of the commission's report. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. In closing, we would like to say that in South Africa, on paper, we have world-class programs. But when they are brought to the ground, corruption is the one that seems to mess them up. We agree that the uptake of most of these relief programs are by women. And when you empower women, you empower a community. Scandals involving public officials capture world attention, and every country expects its public service to manifest professionalism and ethics. Without this, communities are affected, leading to a deterioration of trust by citizens. One of the responsibilities of government must be to build an environment of justice, transparency, and trust. Around the world, governments and public administrators face a crisis of confidence. Government itself, in the long term, will fail if it does not carry public confidence. Public servants are the backbone and heartbeat of public service. But if the heartbeat is unethical and unprofessional, there will be no blood circulation and the public service will die. We recommend the following: that basic training for public servants to carry out their official duties. Training must include financial management so that public servants are able to manage their own finances. Introduction of a career system based on merit appointment. Fair human resource policies on remuneration and conditions of service. Training and development programs should be implemented. Recognition of good work through incentives and correction of poor performance, thus nurturing professionalism and pride. We also agreed that legalizing the code of conduct and principles, these will then be enforced against misconduct ranging from unethical to criminal acts. We would also like to see the strengthening of human resource capacity. Strengthening of whistleblowing and protection of whistleblowers. There is a need for political will as well as ethical exemplary leadership as senior servants remain critical to the effective promotion of ethics in the public service. It is unacceptable that much needed job opportunities are not forthcoming through lack of investor confidence. There is a conflict of interest that prevails in public service, which needs to be contained, and financial disclosure, and the financial disclosure framework must be complied with, and dual employment must be discouraged. Key to all this is exemplary leadership and punishment for unethical behavior. I move to adopt these recommendations.
Okay, thank you so much, Chairperson Honorable Marema. I now call for a seconder to the move. Can I get an indication who wants to second?
Portia Mpomo, Chairperson, I second.
Thank you very much, Honorable Portia. I now put the question to the House. All those in favor, please say yes. You can unmute and say yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much. You can put it back on mute, and then all those not in favor, say no.
Yes.
Okay, the yes have it. The report is adopted. Thank you very much. I now request that the chairperson hand over the commission's resolution to the staff, to the public participation unit staff, the written resolutions. And I'll now declare this debate closed, this part of the debate closed, and call upon the Secretariat to introduce or to read the third order to the House. Secretariat.
Thank you, Chair. The third debate is the debate on the role of social grant as a means of poverty alleviation for women.
Thank you very much, Secretariat. I now call on the Chairperson, Honorable Thubeli Hlemsweli, to open the debate, and I will give you 6 minutes to do that. Honorable Thubeli, the stage is yours.
Honorable Chair, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Chair and honorable members, good afternoon. My name is Thubeli Hlemsweli. I will be speaking on social grants and their impact on women. South Africa, being one of the countries that hold one of the best constitutions in the world, also offers its citizens a myriad of social grants to assist those who are less fortunate who live beneath the poverty line and whose daily strife is for survival. A combination of government interventions to assist members of the public to access social grants through agencies like the Department of Home Affairs and the South African Social Security Agency has been made available not only for South Africans, but also for our refugees. This report focuses on women as the bedrock of families and communities, organically tasked by society to be primary caregivers of themselves, children, people living with disabilities, and the elderly. We have witnessed how women continue to face challenges with accessing these services, challenges made all the more lurid by the COVID-19 outbreak, necessitating that we think more creatively about how access to social grants and social relief can be further improved. A multi-sectoral approach in the disbursement of social grants and relief targeting individuals with material needs and, as evidenced in several parts of the country, appears to have been more effective in ensuring reach to women and vulnerable groups. Somebody's mic is on and I keep hearing some noise. Anyway, let me continue. It is worth noting that despite the lockdown challenges, government has made great strides in assisting our people and enrolling aid to our people. Furthermore, we saw government partnering with members of private sector in places like the Midrand, a public-private partnership in rolling out aid to our communities. The Tusong centers, government's attempt at one-stop centers in our communities, also assist in reducing miles between the people and social services, ensuring that women as primary caregivers are not compelled to move far away from base for long periods of time in search of government services. Because we are a government that has made a commitment to a people-centered service delivery model and should therefore show an understanding of the context within which South Africa's women live and care for their families, we will today elaborate on these challenges, relying on examples of best practice while also making recommendations on how best our government can improve how women access social grants. At this point, I invite my fellow honorable members to take the floor. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Chair of the Commission. I now call upon Honorable Pierre to make her submission for 3 minutes. Honorable Pierre, the floor is yours.
Greetings, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable members. My name is Ngonizashe Pierre. We take cognizance of the interventions of the government, which includes access to Tusong centers and social grants. However, all these advances are not met without prevailing trying factors. Some of these factors include the following challenges. We have adverse impact on economic liberation. Some women generally possess unstable and insecure jobs. They earn less income and they have no savings. Some South African women do not possess identity documents, which are a prerequisite to access these social grants. Foreign national women who do not have legally in order documents but have South African born children also cannot access these grants. Some women are faced with the issue of lack of access to relevant information and are plagued with illiteracy. We admit as well that we've got Tusong centers, however, not all of them are fully functional and operational. This results in women bearing the transportation costs to urban areas to access these grants. We also have inadequate free public Wi-Fi spots to access electronic social grant application system. Lastly, the social grant which is currently being provided is inadequate, is very minimal given the prevailing circumstances of the inflation and the standard of living in South Africa. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Pierre. I now call upon Honorable Mahube to make a submission. Honorable Mahube, The floor is yours for 3 minutes.
Chairperson, Honorable Mahube will be replaced by Honorable Nokanya Zulu today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Nokanya Zulu, you can speak. Honorable member, can you unmute? Your microphone is off. Just press it. Yeah, you can start. You can speak now.
Okay. The challenges that we are having, it's the corruption and mismanagement of the public funds. People are only thinking of themselves. IsiZulu sithi, imali impande yesono. People are taking the money for themselves, not giving us. Kids are at home right now, and kids are eating like a lot of meal, but we don't have enough funds. Single mama, we are seeing our kids so hungry. Going to SASSA offices is a mission on its own. They give us the information. Sometimes they don't give us relevant information. We have to go around, we go back again. And this thing of 350, we have the very big hopes, and I will be getting the 350. But most of us were declined because of the other things that were happening, like they said we are still working, whereas we are not working. So Abanye today, they were queuing a post office, but they didn't get money. That's the most challenges that we are having. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Member. You can mute your mic now, and we move on to Honorable Lindy Mushabani to make her submission. Honorable Mushabani, the floor is yours for 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good day, Honorable Chair and your Deputy. Afternoon to all Honorable members. My name is Lindiwe Mushabane. I am from the city of Johannesburg. Our challenges, our recommendations are, number one, for the government to introduce or improve the framework guiding administrative processes and promote transparency. Number two, government should partner with spiritual leaders to distribute food parcels, because the church has been doing that far long before the grants were introduced. The church has been caring for, they know their communities and they know the poor of the poorest. Coming to the issue of the 350 rand for the unemployed, which the president announced at the beginning of the pandemic, we recommend that let it be issued in vouchers instead of cash. This will reduce corruption or looting. And my point number four, government should partner with businesses and identify 10 women in each ward to skill and empower them financially to provide COVID-19 PPEs and sanitization services. Mentoring, monitoring, and evaluation for sustainability of all economic programs and alleviate the dependency syndrome. Mentoring, monitoring, and evaluation for sustainability of all economic programs and alleviate the dependence syndrome. Lastly, to fast track the issuing of grants and administering social distancing while queuing for the grants, because we have noticed that social distancing is done inside their offices only, and then outside it's chaos. If that can be, we recommend that they administer as well social distancing while queuing for grants outside their premises. I thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Lindy Muslabani, for your submission. You can mute your mic and camera. Thank you. And I now call upon Honorable Flora Ramukopa to make her submission for 3 minutes. Honorable Ramukopa, the floor is yours.
Chairperson, Honorable Flora will be replaced by Honorable Tato this morning. She is unable to connect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chairperson. Honorable Tato, please occupy the floor and address us. Thank you.
Honorable members, please accept my greetings this Women's Month. I am Tatom Kalipi from Randfontein. May I present to you the following recommendations. The government should do a random ward-based audit with various stakeholders to reach out to these women. The government to create centers of access using schools and churches for easy reach of resources. The above 2 points will help these affected women to avoid tapping from the little grants they receive and use it to travel to SASSA or government offices. We need to take note and acknowledge that there are one-stop centers in some areas which are defunct and other areas hardly have such one-stop centers. Mobile volunteers brigades to help in managing and coordination of these resource centers. These volunteers should include the same affected women as a form of empowering them to gain experience. We should form a COVID-19 support group for women to share their strengths and challenges. As a long-term measure for sustainability and reducing hunger, government should avail seeds and training for backyard food gardens. They should form zonal agricultural cooperatives to maximize their resources. Government should develop a point system to monitor grants for qualifying parents. What I mean is that the government should be at the forefront to coordinate the success of these intervention mechanisms in partnership with all stakeholders so that there is ownership by the very affected attended beneficiary. I submit, Honorable Program Director.
Thank you very much, Honorable Tato, for the submission. I now call for open time and will only allow for participants to speak on the debate. And also note that the participants who are on the speaking list will not be allowed to speak during an open time. If you can just remember to mention your name and the rule under which you stand, and you can indicate by a show of hand, or if you don't have the icon, you can just unmute your mic and say your name and I will allow you to, I will recognize you. I
Good
now
day.
open.
My name is, sorry. Good day. My name is Nonkululeko Matondo. I am from the Sidibeng region in Golden Gardens. With regards to the social grants, yes, we know we have been encountering problems, but I feel that we need to have a place where we can be able to appeal, especially people that were rejected, because there's many conditions that result in people rejected, and we have no place where we can go and appeal. So we need offices where we can go to and appeal our reasons why we need the social grant. Like I mentioned, I heard someone speak before about the fact that you get that you probably just lost your job before COVID-19 and you are unemployed. So they need to be able to also check your current status instead of looking 6 months before when accepting these applications, because a lot of people are rejected because of past status and not current status. And as for the food parcels, yes, the food parcels have been a problem. They need to be redeployed to another place because what has been happening, there's people that are getting 3 times food parcels and others that are getting nothing. So there needs to be a centralized place. It could be the SASSA offices, but we've got an issue in the Sidibeng region because in Sebokeng, the whole of Sebokeng, there's only one SASSA office. So we do need the small, what do they call it? Okay, remote places that they can have in order for us to be able to go and appeal, to go and share our problems there, because in the social grant, many people have many problems and there is nowhere where they can go, because sometimes they do not even have the funds to go to that one SASSA office that is there for an entire community. And I want to speak alone for the, that's a social grant. Yes, and that's all my submissions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Dela Lekhodi, you can make your submission.
Thank you, Chair. Okay. So I'm gonna be speaking about. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can speak.
Okay. So in terms of the social grant relief, I'm gonna be speaking about food parcels, which are also part of the social grant relief. So in that manner, we are proposing to the House that for people to have accountability, we need to have a kind of system that will favor the people in rural areas, the people at the people that will favor people at rural areas, the people at townships and wherever. So we are proposing that when food parcels are being fetched from their place so that we can prevent people from distributing to their families and whatnot, there needs to be some form of accountability. Therefore, we need to have something like a code or something like that, and from the place they are taken to a place whereby they are distributed to the communities. We are further proposing number two that we outsource the people who will be doing the distributions in the communities. This will enable the community to have a fair chance. People will also be able to not have a chance to loot. People will also have get what is fairly due to them, because outside factors will not know what is currently happening at that particular community. And also, we also believe that this matter, it further goes down to the basis of being principled. It all goes down to being principled. As a human being, you cannot take food from the poor people. So we are also calling upon our leaders to think about the poor people who lost their jobs, to think about people who do not have any other means to buy food at the end of the day. To have people who are cruel to that extent whereby they take food from the poor. And with that said, we are asking for principled leaders. My chair, I submit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member.
Hello?
I recognize Honorable Mahadi Deborah. Yes, you can speak.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Mahadi Ramotsamai. I'm from the Moral Regeneration Movement. On the code, on the order number 3, the social grant, I believe that if our government improve on material well-being and economic justice, the socio-economic rights that are part of the Constitution must be seen as more than inspirational rights. Policy and program need to be provided the poor and the opportunities to achieve human dignity and material well-being. And also overcoming the enhancement economic and material inequities of the past and present, and to promote opportunities for everyone to share the resources of our country. Opposite greed, selfishness, and undue self-enrichment at all times, overcoming corruption, whether driven by personal gain, dishonesty, favoritism, nepotism, or other motivations. For foster transparency in government and business through timely, accessible, and accurate information on all matters affecting the public life. Lastly, ensuring the competent and fair management and employment practice that results in board-based racial and gender presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. I have one more slot. Can I get an indication of the last speaker on this commission? Honorable Mbuso, you can unmute and address the House. Thank you. Just unmute your microphone, Honorable Member. You can speak. Honorable Mbuso, just press the mic. Can I get any other person while Honorable Mbuso is struggling? Let me see. Yeah, okay, talk to us, Honorable Member.
Honorable Speaker. Hello.
Hello, you can speak.
Can I speak?
Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'd like to agree with Nokukanya Zulu and Nonkululeko Matondo on this 350 grant issue. People are not satisfied. Most women, they've been declined, yes, because they are saying they are working and they are not even working. The government must make sure that they correct those mistakes in terms of land. Also within the men are very much highly frustrated in this regard. I think the government need to do is to open again skill development centers next to the people, because our country needs skilled people in terms of developing our economy. We can't be almost all of us be academics. Yes, it's good to have math and science and to discuss on those levels. But all of us within our country, we can't be math and science literates. We need skills. Skills are much important to develop our country. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mbuso. You can now mute your mic. And I now call upon the Honorable Member Msweli, the chairperson of the session of the commission, to reply to the debate and move for adoption of the commission's report. Honorable Msweli, the platform is yours.
Honorable Chair, thank you. With all that my fellow honorable members have submitted, it is evident that there is plenty of room for growth and improvement in the way that social grants and aid are made available to our women. It is also evident that we need sustainable and multi-sectoral solutions to alleviate poverty in our communities. Although there are social development programs in place, government is open to further create sustainable economic freedom and enhance women's participation in our economy. These measures will provide relief on government funding and reduce dependency on grants. When we empower women economically, we empower families. And when we empower families, we empower communities. With ongoing support, monitoring, and accountability, together we can eradicate poverty among our women. Honorable members, Honorable Chairperson, I thank you, and I now move for the adoption. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I now call for a seconder to the move. Any seconder?
Gonizashe Pierre has seconded.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. I now put the question. All those in favor of the move, please say yes.
Yes.
Unmute.
Yes.
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 Thank you. Thank you very much. And all those that are not in favor, please say no. Okay, the yes have it.
Yes.
The report is therefore duly adopted. Thank you very much. And I would request similarly, like the other commissions, for the chairperson to please forward the commission's resolutions to our staff. I now declare this part of the debate closed, honorable members, and also declare that this is the end of all the 3 debates that were put, all the 3 order papers that orders that were submitted to us. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you, honorable members, for your contributions in the various debates that you participated in. And I would further like to take this opportunity to welcome the chairperson of committees, Honorable Sizakele Nkosi Malobane, to present her vote of thanks. Honorable Nkosi Sizakele Nkosi Malobane, you can present your vote of thanks. Thank you very much.
Chair, in absent, I can really take the item.
You are welcome, Deputy Chair of Chair.
Chairperson, I'm here. That's why I was asking whether I'm audible. Yes,
you were
thank you very much.
You were probably on mute. You are welcome, honorable member. You can go ahead and present the vote of thanks. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, Chair, for giving me this opportunity to thank our honorable members for attending this important event. Let me first recognize yourself as the chair of the session, as well as the deputy chair of chairs, Ndate Mbaba. I would also like to observe and recognize the other members who attended, particularly the MEC for community safety, as well as the presiding officers. Chair, let me also thank all those who presented on the different reports that we considered this morning up to this afternoon. Let me also thank all honorable members who are in the House. May I then also indicate that I'm honored to have been asked to thank all of you for having devoted your time to this noble cause. Our most humble gratitude goes to our program director, Honorable Refilwe Kekana, for having directed the proceedings in a most respectful, intelligent, passionate, and informed manner. Abe angaqali to do that. She have done the same with other sittings. Let me also thank MEC Faith Mazibugo. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to address this at August House. It is an indication that the Gauteng government really cares about the plight of our women. To the Speaker of GPL, Honorable Ntombi Mikwe, thank you for the stewardship and courage. Thank you for your tireless efforts geared towards giving a better life for all our people. To chairpersons and Gauteng provincial legislatures, MPLs, we sincerely like to thank each and every one of you for partaking in this sector parliament. We hope this year is filled with much happiness and success for each and every one of you, and look forward to your ongoing contribution and achievements that help Gauteng become a better place for all women. To all the participants of this sector parliament, we're saying all the inputs and deliberations as discussed today will beyond doubt change and influence the way we address women issues in this province. Members of the 2020 Women's Parliament and invited guests, I'm confident that this occasion is a celebration of our unity in action and a demonstration of our preparedness to be involved wherever we are called upon. The fact that you represent all regions of Gauteng demonstrates that you care and are willing to change the course of history. I must also indicate that I'm impressed with the age of participants in this event. I must say this is really, it is a generational mix. We learn from each other as different generations. Once again, I want to thank you and wish you good luck. Thank you very much, Madam Program Director. Thank you very much, Mekekan.
Thank you, and thank you so much, Chairperson of Committees, Honorable Sizakele Malubani. Thank you so much. We are really honored. I would further like to take this opportunity to welcome the Deputy Chairperson of Committees, Honorable Mpapa Kanyane, just to accept and receive the resolutions on behalf of the legislature and to present his closing remarks and a way forward. Honorable Mpapa Kanyane, can you please address the House?
Thank you very much, the Chairperson of the Committee of Social, and I must really indicate that we started very slow due to the network problem, but as it ensued, the entire process moved swiftly. And I must really take up this opportunity to really apply forward based on this women sector parliament. I've just received the resolution which was sent to me electronically when the chair of chairs was busy with the closing remarks. That's when they sent me some of your resolutions, and then I went through and I've been listening to the debate. I must say the debates were really encouraging. The debates were really empowering, and I've just noted some of the issues that we have raised. The one that I've just perused from what has been presented electronically is where you make a specific call that we need also to make sure that traditional healers that must come to the play. That is the issue that you are ending, and I think that's one point that has to be really taken forward. And then also a recommendation that the monitoring and evaluation unit in the office of the presidency, it should really ensure that they really deal with issues of this particular nature. But now coming to the second item, the second order, which is the ethical leadership, you also raised very important issues. And then some of the issues that you raised is the issue of the capacity. That if we really work together, we capacitate the police, capacitate the social personnel, we capacitate, obviously we deal with these issues. And there was also and also finding out whether we can really come up with the legislative based on the issue of the ethical conduct. Now, looking at the last, which is the social grants, you also made some recommendations. You noted the issue of corruption, but now the issue of the 350, the issue of the food parcels, I think those recommendations were not really on rock. It will really be taken forward. Now, as part of our way forward, this resolution that you have really presented, they will be taken to the Committee of Social Development. Our team will make sure that they consolidate a report. That report will go to the Committee of Social Development. And the chairperson is here and will make sure that it's tabled to the committee and tabled also in the House. When she presents the quarterly report in the House, it will be part of the is because we want you to get a report back. The issues will be processed, will go to the relevant unit, the relevant department, and then we are going to get the report back. We're going to organize similar webinar if we're still under this level of COVID-19. But if ever we're at level 2, level 1, we might organize a venue where we all meet, and then the relevant officials, the MEC, the committee, will now report back to you and then indicate how far the issues raised has been addressed by this government. We are really, there are teething problems, but we are trying our best to make sure that we are a responsive government. And rest assured, we are trying and will make sure that these issues that you are raising, they are really taken care of. And on that note, let me also emphasize the point that the chair of committees has raised, extending our sincere appreciation to all of you, and without you, this wouldn't have been a success. We'll really get there if we really work together. We are determined and we are committed. And on that note, I want to thank you, Chair, for really making this sector parliament move swiftly as it has moved swiftly. And on that note, I want to hand it over back to you so that Jen is sitting officially. Thank you, Chairperson of Social Development, Mary Fibekekana.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member, Deputy Chairperson of Committees, for the way forward. I hope that this is acceptable to the House. And this concludes the business for the day. Thank you all for participating. And the House is now adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairperson. Bye.
Thank you. Okay, bye, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Chair. Bye.
Thank you.